right. Thomas, what timing? Hey, guy. Yeah, I just uploaded the video of you and me working on the truck. Yeah? Yeah? Oh, you're kidding. Tell you what, it's amazing what a couple of weeks of springtime and a lot of rain will do for turning things green. Seems like just a couple of weeks ago I was giving you a shot of Grandfather Oak here, and he was still looking pretty bare, just had a few little buds coming out on him, and now, gosh, green leaves everywhere. But it is that time of year. Welcome back to the MT and Me. In addition to this nice weather today, as you might assume from the very brief opening on this video, another surprise in the F-150 alternator story. Okay, so let me start at the beginning here, just in case some of you don't really know what's going on. If you saw the last video, we went over across the street and helped my good friend and many times helper on Pearl, Thomas, with a problem he was having with his Ford F-150s, mid-90s model F-150, beautiful truck. But the alternator in it got messed up. He had a coolant leak that dripped onto the alternator and shorted the whole thing out. So he put a new alternator on it. And he was got a little confused about the wiring because they weren't marked very clearly, and his alternator came with no instructions. So he called me, since I recently worked on Pearl's alternator, and all alternators are basically the same thing. They all work the same way. So I went over there, and we helped him out. We got it wired up, and seemed to be okay. And then his alternator light came on, I think the next day. And so he went and had it checked, and they said, no, you got a bad alternator, bad diodes. Okay. So got a new alternator, put it on there, and he put it on himself. He just kind of swapped it out because he knew what to do by then. Same thing, still had a light. They went back and they said, no, you still got bad diodes, bad alternator. Well, what are the chances, right? So they gave him yet a third alternator, and I went back over and helped him put it on the F-150, and everything seemed to be cool. All right, that was the wrap-up at the end of last week's video. I told you we got the third alternator on, it's working fine, everything's great. And the next day, he gets in touch with me and he says, hey, you know that third alternator? Well, the light came back on again. You're kidding me, man. Come on. What can his problem? So we've decided it ain't the alternator. There's nothing else in that circuit really but the battery, so maybe that's going to be the next step, is probably replacing the battery or giving it a deep dive check and looking at the whole circuit. We have not worked on it anymore since then, as of this recording. The truck is still there, right across the street. In fact, it hasn't moved since he parked it there the other day, because it's not charging the battery for whatever reason. So the story ain't over yet. I don't have a conclusion at this point, but I will keep you posted on the F-150 saga here on the MT and Me. Just stay tuned. This could really get interesting. If I look a little amazed and bewildered, it's because I am. You know, folk wisdom has always told us those who brag should be careful. Case in point, I've been bragging the last few weeks about how I haven't had any big major limbs fall out of Grandfather Road with all these extremely windy days we've had. He's been holding his own rather well. And now there's this. I don't know exactly when this happened, but I'd almost be willing to swear it was not there yesterday. I guess that kind of narrows it down, doesn't it? Now, because it may not really come through on video, let me show you just how big this piece of wood is. Wow. And furthermore, there's a pretty good chunk of it stuck in the ground. I don't know how much, but it doesn't wobble a lot. I am pretty much speechless. I don't even know what to do with this. I think I might just leave it here as a monument. It may take root and become another tree. It almost is already. Yeah, I mean, I'm about 5'9", 5'10" on a good day, and I can't reach the top of this thing. Can you just imagine being out here when this thing fell? Actually, I don't want to think about that. Well, anyway, the question is, where exactly did it come from upstairs? Well, there's a really big bare spot up there where all the bark is stripped off, and that didn't used to be there. That's not the lightning strike from last year. That's on the other side of the tree. That's on the west side. This is more on the east side. But you know, I don't really see an area where there's obviously a place where a big limb broke off. Not a limb this size. But there's no question that it did come off of Grandfather Road. Somewhere up there. And for now, it's going to stay right where it is. All these other limbs I can get cleaned up, and we still got this huge burn pile to get rid of. I ain't messing with that thing. Like I said, I'm not sure how much of it's in the ground, but it's enough to hold it there. So, until the day when maybe it'll fall down on its own, It will remain a monument to the winds of spring 2025. And here I was, foolishly thinking that this was the biggest limb that could fall off Grandfather. Silly me. Oh well, moving right along, assuming nothing's going to fall on top of us. It's not windy today, so I'm not that concerned about it. But I do want to share a little bit of forward thinking with you. First of all, this has been a bit of a strange week, in that I really haven't gotten anything done on Pearl to talk about or to show you. I did get the surprise on Thomas's alternator, although we haven't done anything about that either. But also, it was a busy week at work. Had a big remote broadcast right in the middle of the week that pretty well took up my time at midweek for a couple of days. But for today here, I want to spend a couple of minutes showing you some things that I've taken off of Pearl that I may eventually end up putting back on. And that starts with something in here. Now, I've already showed you the windows. Two to go up front in the cab over area. And this is a large side window. I also have another window that I may put in instead that has louvered, the kind you can crank open and closed. So that may be in the future too, but I'm not here to talk about windows today. This doesn't look like it. It's an air conditioner. This is the AC. It's a heavy sucker too. That was on the top of Pearl. And the last time I plugged it in, it still worked. It was still installed on top of Pearl, and I thought, well, let me just try this thing. I didn't expect it to run. It is 110 volt AC, so you could only use it when you were plugged into shore power. I don't think the inverter that Pearl originally had on her would have run it. It wasn't big enough. But anyway, I turned it on, and to my surprise, it started up. The fan started blowing, which that alone amazed me. I figured it would be gummed up, but it wasn't. And then, lo and behold, it actually started cooling. And I thought, well, wow. Now, of course, it had to come off because I've got some extensive roof work to do on Pearl. And so we got it off the roof, and it's been stored ever since. I could plug it back in to test it, except that I've taken the controls off of it now, so I don't know. Now here's the other thing, and that's the fact that, like I just said, it is very heavy. Rather than install this back on Pearl, assuming it does still work, I think I would be much better off spending the money on a newer, more efficient unit, perhaps one that had some power options. You can buy units now that, honest to goodness, will run off the 12-volt system. I don't know how they work, but they will. And even beyond that, you can certainly get them that you can generate enough solar power to run. So those are good possibilities. The other advantage is a new unit is going to weigh a lot less than this ton of steel. It took two of us to get this off the top. It's a heavy sucker. So that will help me, again, watch my weight in Pearl, because you do have a maximum weight in RVs, and you've got to factor in the weight of everything you put in there, as far as appliances and furniture and enclosures and woodwork and things like that. And then you have to figure extra weight for your stuff, because you're going to have clothes and food and shoes and sporting goods and people and maybe even pets, and all that adds to the weight of the vehicle too. So any place you can cut a few pounds, it's best to do it. And I think by investing in a new AC system, we can cut a few pounds there. So I don't know the future of this unit right here, but eventually Pearl will have an AC on top. So now, making the transition of keeping things cool to making things warm. This area right here, this big opening, which just goes inside Pearl now, is where there were 2 butane tanks. There was a metal enclosure built there, and originally on the inside it was underneath the eating area, you know, the little dinette area underneath one of the benches. But 2 5-gallon propane tanks, which I still have. They're buried in the rubble of some other stuff that I still have, but they still have a regulator and a hose, and last time I checked, yeah, there's still some propane in there. So the tanks are good. I don't think I'd use that regulator again, because it's pretty old, but a little bit of new regulator, some new plumbing to go on the tanks, and I think I could be in pretty good shape there. And the original propane tubing is also still installed in Pearl. There are copper lines right here that originally went to the refrigerator, the heater, and the hot water heater. And there's one on the other side of Pearl, where the kitchen used to be, that went to the stovetop and oven. So the propane distribution system is still in place. Whether it is gas worthy, here again, I don't know. It would have to be tested. But parts of it, if not all of it, is still there to distribute the gas around Pearl as needed. How convenient, huh? So, I mentioned water heater, and refrigerator. I still have those items too. I have them stored. It's all here in my Connex unit. The real magic is going to be getting to it to show you. Well, this is going to be fun. Because naturally, I put everything in the corner. Brilliant. Okay, let's see what kind of goodies I can find here. This is the control face for the air conditioner you were just looking at. This is the door to the refrigerator. The actual unit is down there. This right here. And this on top is a gas heater, I think. Or maybe that's the water heater. It's one or the other. Over here, this contraption you're looking at there is part of the power system that I'm not going to reuse, because it's mid-70s technology. Below that is either the heater or the water heater. I actually think that's the heater on the very bottom, so that would be the water heater over here that we just looked at. Anyway, they're both there. And then there's a sink, kitchen sink. There's a lavatory right there. And some various other parts and sundry pieces that I still have. I even have a 5-gallon bucket full of wire, rope, gaskets, and other parts and accessories, none of which will probably get reused. But I just couldn't bring myself to throw them away when I was dissecting Pearl a few years ago. Oh, and just in case you're wondering about finishing the engine, well, here's Pearl's radiator. There's her front grill hanging on the wall. And that mess right there was originally her water distribution system. Oh, and that big rusty looking metal thing, yeah, that's her front bumper. I even have a TV antenna that used to be on top of her. It's not going back. So there. Told you I had all that stuff, and now you've seen it for yourself to know that it really is in here. Now, once again, how much of that will actually get reused, I'm not sure at this point. How much of it is actually reusable, I'm not sure at this point. So, there are a lot of questions. The answers lie in the future. So, we'll close everything back up in storage for now and call it a day. I just wanted to spend a little time showing you that I do have a lot of parts for Pearl, and if you want to go digging back into our video archives, into our, say, first year of videos, you will find documentation of me taking all that stuff out because we captured it all with the camera. And might give you an interesting binge watch on some nice springtime day when you have nothing better to do. Below, right now, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can also buy me a coffee. Check out the mtandme.com. Be here every weekend for another episode of the MT and Me. Thank you so much for your support, my Nomies. I love each and every one of you. Keep on watching. We'll keep on working on Pearl. Till next time around, I'm Russ. We'll talk later. You know, I still find it hard to believe that that huge limb fell out of Grandfather Oak and stuck itself in the ground like that. And it begs the question, since no one apparently was around to hear it fall, did it make a sound?